The desert wind howled that evening, sweeping over the canyons like the ghost of some long-forgotten war. The horizon bled red under the dying sun, and the air carried the faint echo of gunfire from far beyond the ridges. Eli Harker rode slow, his horse weary and dust-caked. He hadn't spoken to another soul in 6 days, not since leaving the burnt remains of Clearwater Junction behind. His jaw was hard, eyes tired but sharp, the kind of man who'd seen too much and talked too little. As the wind shifted, he caught sight of something by the old Dry Creek Bridge, a figure crawling through the dust. His hand went to the revolver, but then he saw her, a woman, barely conscious, torn dress, dried blood on her arm, one boot missing. She looked like she'd crawled her way out of hell itself. Eli dismounted quick, boots sinking into the dirt. Hey there," he said quietly, kneeling beside her. The woman's lips trembled. "Please, don't let 'em find me." Her voice was cracked, raw from thirst and fear. "Who?" he asked, pulling the canteen from his saddlebag. She drank, hands shaking so hard the water spilled down her chin. Then she whispered, "The Brenner gang. They killed everyone." Eli froze. The Brenners, outlaws known for burning down entire towns, and last anyone heard, they were headed south. He lifted her gently, set her on his horse. "You're safe now, ma'am. What's your name?" She hesitated, eyes distant. "Clara," she said softly. "Clara Vale." But there was something in her tone, a tremor that didn't sound like the full truth. They rode through the night, slow and quiet. Every sound made her flinch, the snap of a twig, the distant howl of a coyote. Eli kept glancing over his shoulder, hand near his holster. By morning, they reached an abandoned ranch house near the ridge. The boards were broken, the roof half caved, but it offered cover. Inside, Clara sat by the window, clutching the blanket he'd given her. "Why'd they come after you?" Eli asked finally. She stared out into the sandstorm beyond. "I raided my town, took the gold shipment we were guarding. I was the bookkeeper. I knew where they hid it." Eli's jaw tightened. "And you ran." "I tried, but the sheriff thought I was part of it, said I helped 'em escape. So now they're all after me, the outlaws and the law." The wind groaned outside, shaking the shutters. Eli looked at her, dirt-streaked face, torn dress, the haunted look in her eyes. She wasn't lying. Not all the way, anyway. "You ain't got to be afraid now," he said. "I'll see you safe."
3 days passed. Clara healed slowly, and Eli repaired what he could of the roof. He tried not to care, but something about her drew him in. The quiet strength in her voice, the way she'd sit by the fire staring into the flames like she was watching her past burn away. One night, as the fire cracked low, Clara spoke softly. "You remind me of my brother. He used to whistle before dawn, said it kept the dark from winning." Eli smiled faintly. Maybe he was right. But when he looked up, she was crying, silent tears tracing through the dirt on her cheeks. "He's gone, isn't he?" Eli asked. She nodded. "The Brenners killed him when he tried to stop 'em." The room fell silent, except for the crackle of fire. Eli didn't say a word, but he reached over, touched her shoulder gently, and for the first time in weeks, she didn't flinch. By dawn, trouble came riding. 5 riders in black dusters appeared over the hill, the Brenner gang. Their leader, Cole Brenner, was a broad man with scars down both cheeks and a grin that could freeze blood. "Looks like we found the little rat," he growled, eyes fixed on the cabin. Inside, Eli loaded his Colt and handed Clara a shotgun. "Stay low. If they come through that door, you shoot." Her hands shook, but she nodded. The first bullet shattered the window. Splinters flew. Eli ducked, rolled, fired back. 2 quick shots. One outlaw fell, screaming into the dust. Then came the shouting, the gunfire, the chaos of the Old West come alive again. Eli fought like a man who had nothing left to lose. He moved between cover, firing, reloading, blood on his sleeve, but never slowing down. When the smoke cleared, 4 lay dead, but Brenner himself was gone, vanished into the desert storm. Clara slumped to the floor, sobbing. Eli pulled her close. "It's over, for now." But in the distance, thunder rolled, and with it came the sheriff's riders. Sheriff Amos Grant wasn't a man of mercy. He'd lost half his town to the same raid Clara had escaped from. When he saw her standing beside Eli, the rage in his eyes was near blinding. "Step away from her, Harker. She's wanted for aiding the Brenners," he barked. "You're wrong, Sheriff. She ain't one of them." "Save it. We found her name on their ledger. Blood money's blood money." Clara's face went pale. "I didn't take a thing. They forced me." The sheriff cut her off, cocking his rifle. "You can tell it to the gallows." But Eli stepped forward, eyes cold as steel. "You shoot her, Sheriff, you'll have to shoot me too." For a moment, the desert held its breath. Grant stared at him, then spat in the dirt. "You're making a mistake, boy." Eli holstered his gun. "Maybe, but it's mine to make." And with that, he grabbed Clara's hand, swung into the saddle, and they tore off into the open desert, dust rising behind them like smoke from a war. Days turned into weeks. They hid in canyons, rode by moonlight, always a step ahead of both the law and the dying remnants of the Brenner gang. Clara's secret finally came out one night by the campfire. She handed Eli a small leather pouch. Inside, 10 gold coins stamped with the seal of Clearwater Bank. "I took 'em," she said, voice trembling. "Not for greed, for proof. I wanted to show the sheriff that Brenner stole the gold, but before I could, they burned the town." Eli looked at her for a long time, then tossed the pouch into the flames. "You don't need to prove nothing," he said softly. "You already have." When the final showdown came, it wasn't planned. They had stopped at an old mining outpost near Dry Creek. Brenner found 'em there, half dead, half crazed, still hunting revenge. "You took everything from me," he roared, firing blindly. Eli pushed Clara behind a wagon, returned fire. The night exploded with bullets and echoes. Sparks danced off metal, sand burst into plumes, and the moon turned blood red above them. Brenner Théard swinging his rifle like a club, and Eli met him head on. They fought in the dust, 2 men of ruin, one for vengeance, one for redemption. At last, a single shot rang out. Brenner fell. Clara stood behind him, smoking shotgun in hand, tears streaming down her face. Eli looked at her, and for the first time,
smiled. "You did what you had to." She dropped the gun, trembling. "I was so tired of running." He reached for her hand. "Then don't run no more." By sunrise, the sheriff found him again, but this time his gun stayed holstered. The dead Brenner gang lay scattered across the sand. Their reign finally ended. Grant dismounted, studied the scene, then met Eli's eyes. "Seems justice found its way after all." Eli just nodded. "Sometimes it needs a little help." Grant tipped his hat. "You two get out of here before I change my mind." They rode out under the morning light, the sky painted gold, the air warm and alive again. Clara leaned against Eli's shoulder, the wind brushing through her hair. "Where do we go now?" she asked softly. Eli smiled faintly. "Where the sun don't burn and the ghosts don't follow." And as they disappeared into the vast horizon, the desert wind carried only peace. No gunfire, no screams, just the promise of another dawn. If you're still listening to this story, take a second and hit that like button. It helps more than you think. And if you love stories like this, full of emotion, twists, and the wild spirit of the West, then make sure to subscribe, where every story feels alive because of you. So, tell me in the comments, where are you listening from today? Because your support keeps these stories riding.